going. Okay, so this lesson isn't in our book. They expect us to just already know how to do this when we get to the second half of Unit 3. The first half of Unit 3 was just ratios and equivalent rates, which was Unit 2, okay? I think it's Lesson 10 in Unit 3. They just expect us to know how to do all of this. And some of it we do already know, but I wanted to spend a day to make sure we know how to do this. What does it mean, converting FDP? Brady?
Converting fractions, decimals, and percents.
Yeah, converting fractions to decimals, decimals to percents, percents to fractions. Now, some of these we've refreshed our memory on because of the common ones.
Hi.
Hey, guys, who's she here for? Is she here for you, you, and you? No. So worry about you, please. Okay. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you examples. Some of this may be new news. Some of it may be old news. Okay? A percent to a fraction. Who thinks they know how we can change a percent to a fraction? Think of the word percent. What does percent mean?
1 cent.
Lena?
Like fractions and decimals, like kind of like money.
Not really. Brady?
Like 100th of
Cent stands for
century.
century. A century is 100 years. Per means that's where our fraction bar goes. So the word percent, the literal meaning of that is like a fraction bar 100. I want you to write that. Percent means per 100. It just said, instead of saying per 100, it says percent, which is short for century. Okay, per 100. So how do I turn a percent into a fraction? Emmett?
See how many times. Like
Nope, don't even have to see anything. This is the easy one. Kenley? That's a decimal to a percent, or a percent to a decimal. Paxton?
You just like take the last number of their percent.
Nope. Kendall?
the percent over 100.
You put the percent over 100 and you drop the percent sign. So we're going to write that here. Write small.
Okay.
Put the percent over 100 and remove the percent sign. That's the easiest way, okay? Or you could convert the percent to a decimal and then the decimal to a fraction. Okay, and I'm just shortening that. Anytime you're giving an answer as a fraction, what should you always do last?
Drop the whatever. Or like,
What should you always do last? If you're giving me a fraction as an answer. Cam? Simplify. You will always simplify your final answer. Okay, so an example. We're converting or changing a percent to a fraction. So I'm going to start with 24%. Is that a common one that I just expect you to know?
no.
No, so these are for the uncommon ones. You can change any fraction to a decimal and to a percent. I made you memorize the most common 18 of them. How do we change that percent to a fraction? Lori?
We're going to have to put 24 over 100.
Yeah, you put the percent over 100 because percent means per 100. And then decide, is that my best answer? Maya, what goes into both of those? 2 does. If I reduce them both by 2, what would I get, Maya?
12.
12 over 50. Is that my best answer?
No.
What can I reduce by again, Brady?
6 and 25.
But it has to be the same thing. If I'm reducing the fraction.
Yeah, he's saying that.
So, but my question was, what am I reducing by?
2.
I'm reducing by 2. So the result would be 6 over 25. So if I reduced by 2 and reduced by 2 again, what could I have reduced by in the beginning? 4. Do I care how many times you have to reduce? No, as long as you get to the end, the most simplified version, which would be that.
Can you divide by 6?
Now let's do another one. 17%. Brant? Yeah, 17 over 100. Can that be reduced?
No.
Nope. Done. Let's do 128%. First, what's weird about that? Kinley? It's over 100. Can you get percents over 100? Yeah, extra credit. Gives you a percent over 100 if you get them all right and get extra. Oftentimes, percents over 100 is like markup. Do you guys know what markup is? Are you guys in JA yet?
Yeah.
Okay, have you talked about markup? No. Okay, it's kind of like the opposite of a discount. And just a quick example, let's say I am Nike, okay? I am Nike, and Dom has on a Nike t-shirt today. We'll use, okay, so I work at the Nike factory, and I just made the shirt that Dominic has on for $3.50.
What?
They really don't cost that much money to make, okay? It's cotton, and it's like vinyl. So, and again, I'm making this up. When Dom goes to the store, especially because it has that name on it, is it going to cost him $3.50? No. So here's what happens. Every business is out to do what? Make money. Okay? So, I am Nike. I made that shirt for $3.50. I'm going to mark it up. I'm going to make the numbers easy. 200%. Which means I take that price. What is 100% of 350? Brady?
100% of 350.
Don't overthink it. 350. 100% of 350 is 350. If I mark it up 200% to sell it to Hibbett's, okay? If 100% is 350, how much is 200%? Kinley? $7. So if you're taking 200% of a number, you're really doubling the number, okay? So I am Nike. I'm going to write this out here so we can see the numbers. At Nike, it cost me $3.50 to make the shirt. I sold it to Hibbett's after I marked it up 200%. So I sold it to Hibbett's for $7. It's a store. Does Hibbett's say, here you go, Dom, you can buy this shirt for $7? No. What do? They mark it up too, because Hibbett's wants to make money. Nike wants to make money. You're the only one not making money here, okay? Let's say Hibbett's marks it up 400%, which is pretty accurate. How much do we sell Dom? Now, 100% is $7. 100%. I'm marking that price up 400%. Finley? $28. We're multiplying it by 4. $28. So something that cost Nike $3.50 to create and make, I mean, they have to put it together. They have to pay people to physically make that shirt, whether it's using a machine or doing something by hand. They mark it up by a percentage to sell it to the stores. Then the stores mark it up by a percentage to sell it to you. Most of the stuff you purchase has been marked up a whole lot. Okay? So businesses typically have a general markup percentage. Like maybe shoes from the factory to the store, maybe they mark those up 200%. Maybe shirts, they only mark up 150%. Maybe accessories, they mark up 10% or 50%. They usually have a percentage on how they mark things up. And that's how they figure out about how much money they're going to make each year. So that's when we can have percentages in the real world, and extra credit is the most common one for you guys. How do we turn 128% into a fraction? Lena, what do you think?
Put 128 over 100.
Yeah, we put 128 over 100. Is that my best answer? Kinley, what can I do to 128 over 100?
Divide by 2.
Okay, I can reduce it down and divide it by 2. That would give me 64 over 50.
And then you.
Let's keep going. If we're going to reduce, let's keep reducing until we're done reducing, and then we'll flip. Emma? Where are you getting 32? Oh, so what are we dividing by?
32.
We're not dividing by 32 because 32 doesn't go into 50. We're reducing by 2 again, which would give me 32 over 25. Why is that still not my best answer? Emmett?
Because you can divide it.
Because it's an improper fraction. Down at the very bottom of this page, see how there's just kind of a random box? That's for scratch work. So go down there. I'm going to go out to the side. We will have to divide it out to get a mixed number. How many times does 25 go into 32, Logan? Once. So we get 7 left over. Callan, what do I do with all of that?
Put it as a mixed number as
1, so the remainder becomes our numerator. The denominator stays the same. So this is 1 and 7/25. Now, why does it make sense that our answer is a mixed number? This is where I'm trying to get you to develop some number sense on when you work these to kind of just check and see if your answer makes sense. Cam, why does it make sense that my fraction is a mixed number? Yes, anytime you have a percentage over 100, your answer is going to be a mixed number. If it's 100 something, your whole number is going to be a 1.
1.
What if your percentage is 500 something? What do you think your percentage or your whole number is going to be? 5. Okay? Now decimal. How do we change a percent to a decimal? Think about the ones we do know to help us figure out the ones we do not and come up with a rule. Kendall?
So since the fraction is like the percent over 100, you like the decimal point, like you move the decimal point 2 times to the left.
Okay, so she said move our decimal point 2 times to the left, and she's correct, but I'm going to put it properly. We divide the percentage by 100, which means we just move, I'm going to put DP, what do I mean by DP? Decimal point 2 places to the left. So mathematically, when we're moving the decimal point to the left, we're actually, every time we move it to the left, we're dividing by 10. So to divide by 100, we're moving the decimal point 2 places to the left. So I'm going to take those same 3 percentages, 24%, and I'm going to show more work than we probably need to for this, just so you have notes. If I had to add a decimal point, where is it in that problem? Reese? In 24%, where is my decimal point? Because 24% is actually 24.0000000%. Okay, so in our notes, we're gonna add that in just to show it. Now, to change a percentage to a decimal, you just move the decimal point 2 times to the left, which is actually dividing by 100. Now that we're in 6th grade, if you give me that, is that the best answer? Finley? Yeah, put a 0 in front of it. You should always have a whole number, even if it's a whole number that represents nothing. And I lied. For the second one, I'm going to add something. 17.8%. Can we have a decimal percentage? Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the time we just round them to make them whole, but most of the time when we're finding a percentage, it's an ugly percentage and we round it to make it prettier. So this one, do I have to figure out where my decimal point is? No, we just have to locate it. Brady, and then what do I have to do with it? Yeah, and I'm going to write it here just so we can see the original. I move it 2 times to the left, once, twice. So my decimal would be 0.178. You can't leave off those extra numbers. Okay, let's do 128%. Brody, where is my decimal point in 128%?
Behind the 2.
Like right now, before I change it to a decimal. Who can answer that? Where is my decimal point? Lena?
Behind 8.
Yeah, that 128% is saying 128.0%. So this one I have to place it, and then I have to move it 2 times to the left. Show your loops. 1, 2. So my decimal would be 1.28. And just like the mixed numbers, if your percentage is over 100, your decimal will be greater than 1. Okay, so some of that's new, some of it's old. We've talked about a lot of it, but we've never physically written it down on paper. Questions on that one?
No.
Okay. I have to get rid of that bottom. I have to do this and then come back to it. I gotta get rid of that. There we go.
Converting it to piece.
Okay, next we're doing fractions to decimals and fractions to percents. Now my button went away completely. See if I'm still recording. Okay. How do I change a fraction to a decimal? Briley. I actually have 3 ways here, 3 options. So we're going to write 3 different things here. Kendall.
So, like, for the percent, like, the fraction is over 100 to get 2 decimal places?
Okay, so she's saying, like, if it's over 100, if I can say that decimal properly, like 17 hundredths is the fraction, do we know I need both of your point sheets, please. Just bring them up.
Why are you talking about it?
You are. You're talking to someone. I need your point sheet.
I'm talking to anyone. Ask Brody. I wasn't even talking.
Option 1. We're going to have 3 things here, so you're going to have to write small. If, and this is what Kendall said, the denominator is 10, she just focused on 100, but it's 10, 100, or 1,000, you can just say it properly. Say it properly, because if the decimal or sorry, if the fraction has a 10, a 100, or 1,000, those are our decimal places. So if we say a decimal properly, like if we have 0.4, that's the lazy way to say it. How do I say 0.4 properly, Briley? Why 4/10, Emmett?
Because you don't have like a ones place on the right.
Yeah, because the first decimal place is the tenths place. What does 4/10 look like as a fraction, Parker? 4 over 10. And then we would have to reduce, okay? So if the denominators are 10, 100, 1,000, those are the easy ones. Because if we can say it properly, and we know the first decimal place is the tenths, the second decimal place is the hundredths, the third decimal place is the thousandths, it makes that easier. So I'm going to, as we do each one, I'm going to do an example showing that, okay? So let's do the fraction, who can say that properly? A lot of times we say like 19 over 100, but how do I say that properly? Reese? 19 hundredths. How do we write 19 hundredths in its decimal form? Callan? 0.19. Good job. Okay, I'm going to do another one like that. I'm going to draw a little squiggly to show 3 over 1,000. These are the ones that get us sometimes. Who can say it properly? Lena? 3 thousandths.
Really?
Kanan, what does 3 thousandths look like as a decimal?
0.003.
Okay, why is it 0.003? Yeah, because that's telling me I need a 3 in the thousandths place, okay? So this is what 5th grade is doing right now. That's the easiest way to turn a fraction into a decimal, is if the denominator is a 10, a 100, or 1,000. Option 2. Yeah, I would always look for that first because that's the easiest. Option 2 is see if you can get the denominator to 10, 100, or 1,000. So sometimes our fraction isn't one of those, but I could easily get it to be one of those. So for example, for this one, 2/5. This is a common one. Is the denominator a 10, a 100, or a 1,000? No, but Maya, what can I do to 2/5 to make the denominator a 10, a 100, or 1,000? Multiply it by 2, so I could do times 2 times 2. I could create an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. And then Brant, how do I say that fraction properly? 4/10. How do I write that as a decimal? 0.4. Okay, I'm going to do another one of those. Now, this is one where when we look at it, we're like, does 15 times something equal 10? No. A whole number? No. 15 times a whole number equal 100? 15 times, if it doesn't equal 100, we can't get it to 1,000. But what, I can still get that one to 10, 100, or 1,000. How? Paxton? I've been trying to train your brain for 2 years now to look at that fraction. Avery, he's going the wrong direction. What can he do? Look, when you look at fractions, what have I been training you to do? And think.
Simplify.
Can it be reduced? Can it be reduced? Yes. By 3. If we reduce it by 3, we would get 2/5. Can I build 2/5 up to?
100.
Yeah, what did I? Yeah, I just did it. That is the same thing as 4/10, which is the same thing as 0.4. Those are the ones where we break it down and then build it back up. Have we had to do those with ratios lately? Yes, sometimes we have to break it down to its unit rate before we build it back up. Maya. Yeah, if we multiplied by 2, we would get 12 over 30 and then break it down. Yep, that would get us there too. Okay? Option 3. Let's say we look at it and we're like, no, it's not a 10, a 100, or 1,000. I cannot get it to 10, 100, or 1,000. One that's popping into my head and you already know it, but this is one that you would always have to do this. 5/8. And this is just one I know for sure. I can't do it the other ways. The denominator is not a 10. It is not a 100. It is not a 1,000. I cannot build it up or break it down to be a 10, a 100, or 1,000.
Really?
So option 3.
Actually, we divided by 4.
Option 3. Lori.
You can multiply it by 10.
But if you multiply it by 10, would we have 50/80ths? So our denominator is still not.
Oh, I know.
And then if we try and break that down to 10, we would have to divide by 8. Is 50 divisible by 8? Not to get a whole number. Reese. Do long division. Numerator divided by denominator. Numerator divided by denominator. So that would equal 5 divided by 8. I'm going to write it different ways because we have to know this. 5 divided by 8, which is the same thing as 5 divided by 8. Go down in your scratch area at the very bottom and divide that out. I'll do it 5 divided by 8. And again, we're trying to get to a decimal. So do I want to give my answer as a fraction? So what do I have to do before I can divide this out, Brant? Okay, I have to add a decimal point in my problem, which means I also add it.
0.
How many zeros can I add? As many as I need. Okay, I'm going to add one at a time. Emma, how many times does 8 go into 50? 6. 6 times 8 is 48. I subtract, I get 2. Can I give my answer as 0.6 remainder 2?
No.
Or 0.6 and 2/8? Kanan, what do I do next? I don't want the answer. I want to know what I do next. I add another 0. Do I add it to my answer? No, I only add it to my, because I'm not changing the problem. I'm just adding more digits. So 2, that's 16. I get 4. I have to drop a third 0. 0.625. Yeah, that's one that is a common one, but I'm just showing you that's option 3. If you look at it and you're like, no, I can't easily get that to 10, 100, or 1,000, that's the easiest option. That way works every time. It's just not always the quickest and the easiest method. So I suggest you kind of go through your checklist before you divide it out. Okay? Fraction to a percent. How do I get a fraction to a percent? Same thing. There's an easy way and there's one that's a little bit harder. Fraction to a percent. Kendall.
So if it's 10, 1,100, you can put the 10 over
No. We're doing fraction to a percent. Brady.
You take the numerator, and that's your percent.
Not always. So like
Well,
5/8, it's 5%.
multiply it up to like 100.
So if the denominator is 100, the numerator equals your percent. Those are the easy ones. The hard ones are you can't go. If you can't get the denominator to 100, you cannot get directly from a fraction to a percent. Where might you have to go first? Yes, so I'm going to write this in letters because I think we understand what these letters mean. You will change the fraction to a decimal and then to a percent. So we would have to follow the decimal rules, changing a decimal to a percent. Okay, so back to our examples over here. 1900ths. You should be really excited when you see ones like that you're changing to a percent. Why, Bryson?
Because you just have to put the 19 over it, or you have to change the 9 over. 19.
So what will my percent be?
19.
19, and we add our percent sign. Okay? Easiest ones. Let's go to our second one, 2/5. Is the denominator a 100?
No.
Can I get it to 100, Finley?
Yes.
By doing what? 5 times what equals 100? 20. So times 20 times 20. So that would be 80 over 100, which is
80%.
80%.
Wait, 80. 40.
Oh, whoo. Sorry, 2 times 20. I was doing the answer times 2. So 40 over 100, so our percent is 40. So that's easy ways. Then we would get to one like 5/8. I'm going to change it a little bit just to make it a little bit harder. If we had 6 and 5/8, okay, we would have to do the division to change our 5/8 to a decimal, which we've already done. What would be the decimal form of 6 and 5/8 if I know that 5/8 is 0.625? Callan? Yeah, in a whole number, or in a mixed number, the whole number's in front. In a decimal, it just pops over to the front. So we would just do that. And if we were dividing this out, we would still just divide 5 divided by 8 like we did over there. Okay, I cannot easily get 8, or I can't get 8 to 10, 100, or 1,000. So I would have to do the second version where I change the fraction to a decimal and then to a percent. So my decimal I already have right here. How do I change a decimal to a percent? Logan? Decimal to percent. If you need to look up the direct, you have it right above. Decimal to a percent. Oh, we haven't done that one. Sorry, we did the other backwards. Brady, what do? We multiply it by 100. We're about to write this. So 2 times to the right. Sorry. So 2.5%. Why does that seem like a really high percent, Maya? Because it's 600%, but why does that make sense that it's 600%? Parker?
Because the original was 5/8, so 62.5%.
No, that
This makes sense for me.
Emma? Nope. Kendall? Because the mixed number, what is the whole number on the mixed number? 6. So that means it's going to be above 600%. Okay, your whole number kind of gives you your first digit if it's over 100. Okay, let's flip to the back. We're not going to get through these today, but we're going to keep going until I have to stop. Sit down. Decimal to fraction. How do I change a decimal to a fraction? Kinley? How do I change a decimal to a fraction? What do you think? It's not always over 100. Yeah, we have to say the decimal properly. If we can say the decimal properly, oops, that's an A. If we can say the decimal properly, we can write it as a fraction. Okay, so let's who can say that decimal properly? Finley? 84 hundredths. What does that look like as a fraction? 84 over 100. What else? Dom, what's wrong with that answer?
It's not simplified.
Okay, what do I know for sure goes into both of those? Why are you touching him? 2. So that is 42 over 50. Best answer?
No.
Briley, what goes into both of those? If I divide it by 2 again, I would get 21 over 25. Best answer? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's try another one. Who can say that one properly? And you're having to think back. Callan? 4 and 6 hundredths. What does that look like as a fraction, Maya? And then 6 over 100. Best answer?
No.
Briley, what's wrong with it? It's not simplified. My whole number stays a whole number. What goes into 6 and 100? 2. So we would have 4 and 3 fiftieths. I'm going to do one more. Let's do who can say it properly? Paxton?
17.2.
Nope, that's the lazy way to say it. That's how we usually say it because it's quicker than saying it properly. And that would be that's what I call the lazy way. 17.002. And we use that because it's quicker than saying it properly. Avery, how do I say it? 17 and 2 thousandths. Why do I say thousandths, Brady? It's in the thousands place. So as a mixed number, that would be 17 and 2 over 1,000, which would reduce to 17 and 1 over 500. Now, everybody stop and listen for a second. Your only homework tonight is to work on your weekly worksheet. Okay? You guys can go ahead and go.